G'day viewers and welcome to this week's PB's Retro Restorations. This week I'm doing this Matchbox number 20 Chevrolet Impala Taxi that belongs to Gerard and Renee. This is one of the ones Gerard would like to get back, so we're going to restore it. Now, my father-in-law, Paul, who's our resident Matchbox expert here, pointed out that it's got grey wheels on it, the two that are still on it. Now, the grey wheel variation is actually quite hard to find compared to the black one, and probably not quite as rare as the red interior version, but anyway, here it is. So I'm going to try and once you pull it apart, like, it doesn't really matter what wheels it had on it, anyone could have put them on, but you've seen it here riveted still with its grey wheels. I'm going to replace it with grey wheels, or do my best to find a pair. So let's get crack-a-lacking and see if we can't turn this one around and make it wonderful again. Now, I've given the sound effects a break for a couple of videos because I do get comments from people who don't like them. I got told by one person they have to mute my videos, so, but I asked if it was because of me or the sound effects and I didn't get a response, so I'm going to have to assume it's both. But anyway, I've talked so long the sound effects opportunity's gone, so that was smart of me, wasn't it? Oh no, here we go. I don't know. Anyway, it only took me half as long to take the wheels off this car because only half of them were on there. So obviously after stripping all that yellow paint off, I'm giving it a clean up with some steel wool. Also hit it with the wire wheel on the Dremel, and then I hit it with the Scotch-Brite wheel on the Dremel as well. This car has some really fine casting details on it, like the Impala badges on the side and the door frame marks, and it's quite an accurately proportioned vehicle. If you're going to detail it out and customise it, lots of opportunities, but we're doing a straight resto here, so straight resto it is. I'm sure it's wearing thin. Even the people who say they like it must be getting jack of the sound effects, but anyway, you can't say I haven't tried this week. Now, using some degreaser, well, I'm using methylated spirits actually. I figured that kind of does the same thing. No sound effects for this process. I stole this one from Opar. I've said it before, I've said it again, I do it every time now. It does seem to make a difference. So thankfully the glass in this wasn't cracked, it's pretty thin, but it was fairly heavily scratched, so I'm going over it with my Infinity grade grey sandpaper, wet and dry, and using it wet, and then I'll finish it off with my Super Infinity grade green wet and dry sandpaper. It's like on plastic sheet. You're supposed to be able to wash it and keep using it, but it kind of wears out. It does a good job. Okay, so this one was Tamiya Rattle Pack Primer grey, and then airbrushed Tamiya yellow over the top. I know the original was slightly darker, has a bit of a reddish kind of orange tinge to it, but I just went straight yellow. I like the end result and it looks good. Yellow can be a mongrel to get right at the best of times, so I'm just glad it came out even and it looks nice. So I polished up the base with the Scotch-Brite wheel and I got a really good shine on it, and I thought, well, I might try polishing it with a little buffing wheel and some aluminium paste, and it didn't really improve it. In fact, it probably made it worse, so I went over it again with the Scotch-Brite, but nothing ventured, nothing gained, and you know, each one requires a different approach sometimes, so it's good to try a couple of different things even if it doesn't work out. So look at me getting all technical with me vernier calipers. I'm measuring the size for the decal because I'm going to make my own. It's only red lettered taxi, so it shouldn't be too hard, right? Right. So the problem with having a Matchbox car that's got hard to find wheels is they're hard to find. And I went through my little stash and tubs of wheels and bits and pieces, and I couldn't find any that were... I thought about getting some metal ones and using them, and couldn't find any grey ones, so that I went into the deep bucket. I thought I'm going to have to steal some wheels off something else. Now, this bucket came from Paul, my father-in-law, lots of bits and pieces, and it's always useful. So I dug through looking for a candidate. I found lots of cars that I need to add to my restoration list, which I knew were in there, but you know, takes time. I don't need any more projects. I thought about pulling this Husky apart, and I thought, no, there's nothing really wrong with that. That'll be a good resto one day. Same with this Lesney truck. So, and then I found it. This little guy, the garbage truck. Now I picked this because it had 4 even wheels on the back that were the exact same size as the Impalas. This had already been repainted and pulled apart once. By the look of it, it was missing the back. I thought, well, you're never going to get a replacement back for this, so we'll use this one. So I'll just take those rear wheels off, and then we'll go from there. And I guess I also get an axle as well, because that was missing the axle too, so it worked out well. So now I've got an electric jug. I'm like the master of the universe and create my own hot water. Haha. To wash these black wheels I took off the dump truck because they were filthy. Filthy. So I let them have a soak, brushed them with the toothbrush and prepped them for paint because I'm going to paint them all grey, of course. So here's the decals I made. Obviously, as always, first rule is to print out 6 or 7 of them so you don't, you know, ruin one and then you're stuffed. But the first one actually went on well, so now I've got enough of them to last me for decades. A nice clear coat over the top, give it shiny, seal that decal on. It's looking good. So one axle was a teeny touch longer than the other one, which just necessitated shortening it a bit with the Dremel. That was no big deal. So I've got to set myself up with a new axle forming block of wood instead of the nails, because when I did this one, it got the wobbles up and I stripped all the paint off one of the wheels and had to touch it up. So you can't hear me using colourful language here. I overdubbed it. But they went on. They're not going to come off now. But I think I need to use a centre punch or something in it. Anyway. So it was Mrs. PB's birthday a couple of weeks ago, and she got a lovely new hairdryer from her sister as a present, and she just said to me, "Would you like my old hairdryer?" And I looked at her and I said, "What am I going to do with a hairdryer? Have you seen my bald head?" I thought she was taking the mickey out of me, but she said, "No, I thought you could use it for heating things up." Oh yeah, well, probably could try it out on some Lesney suspension pieces, and so I did. And I think I just made it worse, as I usually do. I got it a bit straighter in one part, but made it worse in another. So any tips you can give me on straightening these out, whether it's me, I've completely destroyed them in the past, so this was an improvement of sorts. And I got a hairdryer out of it. So here's all our parts, ready to go back together. Let's pull the screws out, and we're almost there. Alright, so here we are back at the start with our Chevy Impala Taxi. Got the little dude in there. I mean, obviously the major issue was the front axle and wheels missing, and we could have replaced them with any sorts of wheels. It wouldn't have really mattered, but I wanted to keep them grey like it was from the factory. And these cars have such a fragile roof. I've seen so many of these smashed and busted, so it was a pretty solid base to work with. So this is what we started with, and this is what we're left with now. Ta-da! I'm not going to start singing it, but this reminds me of that Harry Chapin song, Taxi. This is the kind of taxi I imagine him getting about in, picking up his Lady Blue in the rain. My older viewers and more cultured viewers will know that song and Harry Chapin. Anyway, it's looking $1 million now. Fresh paint. Some imitation wheels to replace the missing ones. Small amount of detailing, new decal on the top, handcrafted by yours truly. Well, I think this one came out really good. Thanks again for giving me the chance to work on it, Gerard. Congratulations on you and Renee's big news. Anyway, I'll stop talking now and let you look at the still shots. So don't forget about the massive pile of t-shirts I've got to offload. They're still available. Don't forget next Friday in fact, is the Pontiac build for Dibs. Look forward to that. And then jingle bells, Christmas is on the way. Get involved in the Dibs build. It'll make your day. Sorry. Anyway, have you checked out these other awesome videos yet? Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my video. Thank you to all my regular subscribers. Welcome to any new subscribers, and hello to anyone considering subscribing. I wouldn't ask you to subscribe, but if you consider it, I'd really appreciate it. Share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, good, bad. That's okay, as long as it's constructive. I don't mind. I will see you next Friday. Stay safe, look after yourselves and each other. Bye!